Yume and Mizuto become step-siblings after Yume's mother Uni married Mizuto's father Miniki. Unfortunately, their parents are unaware they once dated in middle school. As such, they decide that any time either of them acts like an ex, they must admit they are the younger sibling. While trying to provoke each other, Yume is tricked into using Mizuto's surname. At school, several boys pretend to be Mizuto's friends just to get closer to Yume. Angry on his behalf, Yume clings to Mizuto and claims she has a brother complex, so the boys back off. For revenge, she decides to sit by him wearing only a bath towel, tricking him into peeking at her. This almost works, but she goes too far and her towel almost falls off until Mizuto actually helps her stay covered up. Defeated, she tries to leave but trips and they fall on the sofa together. In this situation, with Yume almost naked, they forget about the game and almost kiss but are interrupted by their parents. They both realize situations like this are exactly why they no longer like each other. Mizuto is approached by Kogure Kawanami, who states he will be Mizuto's friend and has no intention of using him to get to Yume. During fitness exams, Akatsuki Minami excels at sports and Yume overdoes it trying to keep up and faints, though Mizuto catches her. Yume asks Minami to keep how bad she is at sports a secret and they become friends. Mizuto aggravates Yume, though Minami suspects he was trying to be nice. Yume catches a fever and Minami insists on visiting her. A delirious Yume almost says something embarrassing to Mizuto until she sees Minami. Minami correctly deduces Mizuto once had a girlfriend and wonders if dating again will be awkward now he lives with a stepsister. She also asks if he sees Yume as more than a sister, but he denies this. Yume only falls asleep when Mizuto holds her hand, which he recalls they always did while they were dating if one of them was ill. After making several demands of him, Mizuto forces her to take her temperature again, revealing she had recovered but faked being ill so he would be nice to her. Mizuto forgives her after she apologizes. 6 months previously, while still dating, Yume obsessively kept every item Mizuto gave her. Today, Yume finds herself with a pair of Mizuto's underwear. Certain that having them counts as losing their game, she is determined to return them. She attempts to sneak into his room, only to find Mizuto doing the same thing with her bra. Despite their suspicion, they both admit they broke the rules and can freely demand one thing. The next day, Yume sees Mizuto with a girl and when he brings the girl home, Yume uses her to force him to go food shopping, leaving the girl alone in his room, but she disappears. Mizuto demands Yume check her room, but she insists nothing has been moved or taken. Mizuto is worried as the girl was actually Minami in disguise and she had asked him to marry her because she is obsessed with Yume and marrying Mizuto would make Yume her sister. Kawanami, who is Minami's childhood friend, admits Minami can become intensely obsessed. As a favor, he tells Mizuto how to stop her. Mizuto later goes straight to Yume and for his demand, asks her on a date. On the day of the date, Yume frets constantly over Mizuto's motivation and for some reason finds herself extremely attracted to him. Via a flashback, it is shown the date was Kawanami's idea. The date becomes more tense as Mizuto's guilt mixes with Yume's genuine awkwardness. While Mizuto is in the bathroom, Yume becomes lost. Mizuto phones her but Yume finds she is disappointed when he is nice to her and does not mock her with sarcasm. She remembers a similar situation of being lost on their first date until he found her. Mizuto finds her and this time he does mock her, so they descend into their usual bickering and actually enjoy themselves. Mizuto is surprised they get on better as step-siblings than they did as lovers. After watching the date, Minami apologizes to Mizuto and promises to control herself. However, she reveals that she is not ready to give up her Yume obsession yet. Still confused over him asking for a date, Yume demands Mizuto submit to a punishment of sitting for a photo shoot, since she still currently finds him very attractive, and takes hundreds of photos. Yume asks Mizuto to help buy a gift for Uni for Mother's Day. As such, they buy roses, which makes Uni cry tears of joy. Mizuto later prays at the shrine of his mother, who died when he was very young. As their parents are technically newlyweds, Mizuto suggests he and Yume give them a night alone by leaving the house. His suggestion of a cheap love hotel is rejected, so Mizuto decides to stay overnight at Kawanami while Yume sleeps next door at Minami's. Kawanami admits to Mizuto that he and Minami were best friends once, but despite living next door they have drifted apart. The boys prank each other by yelling embarrassing things through the thin walls, making both girls mad at them. After dinner at a restaurant, Kawanami points out to Mizuto that while he and Minami argue openly about everything, Mizuto and Yume argue by trying to trick, undermine and outdo each other, which does not seem healthy. Later that night, Mizuto and Yume meet on separate balconies. Mizuto comments that unless their parents have an unexpected divorce, they will be stuck as step-siblings forever, which makes both of them sad. Exams are approaching and Yume, as the top-ranked student, is determined to maintain her position and beat Mizuto. After the first exam, she is furious when she discovers Mizuto deliberately lowered his own score to let her win. Yume starts to wonder if their rivalry was ever real. However, after the exams are over, Yume discovers Mizuto has replaced her as top-ranked student, though he challenges her to beat him during finals if winning is so important. Yume realizes now she is second, she doesn't feel the pressure to be perfect and actually relaxes, which is what Mizuto had been trying to teach her. She rushes to find him to confess her love again but finds him talking to another girl, Asana Higashira, a severe introvert. Despite having met only recently, Mizuto considers Higashira his closest friend. Yume tries to hide her jealousy, but Mizuto automatically knows what is happening. First he tricks her into becoming flustered, then demands to know what is wrong. Yume admits her jealousy, so he antagonizes her so she returns to normal. After meeting Higashira, Yume is convinced they are just friends. Yume and Minami interrogate Higashira over liking Mizuto. Minami declares she and Yume will help her get a date with Mizuto, but Higashira refuses as she prefers to just remain friends. Yume realizes Higashira is unsure of herself, just like she was in middle school. After watching Mizuto with Higashira at school, Yume and Minami are forced to admit Mizuto is not romantically interested. To kickstart some interest, Minami insists Higashira use her breasts to entice him. However, Mizuto fails to take an interest. Yume realizes trying to change Higashira's personality to attract Mizuto is wrong. Minami decides to give her a makeover instead, but Mizuto barely reacts except to tease her. As a last resort, Minami tells Higashira to confess as soon as possible. Higashira manages to give a heartfelt confession, but Mizuto lets her down gently, explaining that while he is sure they would make a good couple, his heart already belongs to someone else. Yume is upset and Mizuto still has such strong feelings he keeps hidden. Higashira returns to being Mizuto's friend and finds she enjoys it more knowing there is no romantic tension. Higashira asks to see Mizuto's book collection, stating she would feel safe in his room since he already rejected her. Yume and Minami insist on updating Higashira's clothing, still hoping Mizuto might show romantic interest. However, due to Higashira's ample bust, everything she wears looks risque. Minami decides Higashira should dress like Yume, though to avoid looking like a copycat, Minami insists Yume also change clothes. Higashira finds a skirt she likes, but Yume worries they have made Higashira too attractive. During the visit, Higashira is astonished at the size of Mizuto's book collection. Yume insists on joining them as a chaperone and is surprised to see them acting so casually. In private, Higashira admits to Yume she thinks she will always have feelings for Mizuto but will stay as friends to keep him in her life. With Higashira in the bathroom, Yume jealously asks Mizuto to put her socks on for her, but is embarrassed to find him touching her legs as erotic. Mizuto later wonders if he and Yume had remained friends instead of dating, would they now be as close as he is with Higashira? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe.